Hi, everyone. This is Aaron, and you are listening to Walnut Notes, the official podcast for the members and friends of FCBC Walnut. I'm here with Nathan Wu, and he just released 2 articles on the Walnut blog. One article is called Fight for Joy, and it talks about his battle with depression. The other article is called Why Speakers Tournament, and it explains his love for that particular ministry. Nate, first I want to ask you, how did you start blogging, and what do you hope to accomplish from sharing these posts? Second, is it difficult to share about such personal topics like depression? And finally, did you ever participate as a speaker in Speakers Tournament?
Hey, Aaron. Thanks for having me on. I think when I first started writing and using WordPress in particular, it was to help me write more. It forced me to write more and then to hone my writing skills because that was kind of what I was working towards in college for a career, hopefully down the line. And it was also started my senior year to keep my friends in Indiana up to date on my life, knowing that I was moving back here to Walnut. But honestly, I just like the space to process life in general. I think because of my personality, it's easy to sort of hide behind the silliness and the loudness, and everything just seems okay all the time with me. But I think as I grow and mature, I'm learning more and more that it's okay not to be okay. But it's how we react to that state of not being okay. And I think for me, writing and journaling has always been that space for me to process. And WordPress, in a way, is a mechanism in which I can invite others to process with me. And it forces me to invite God into whatever circumstance I'm facing. And his promises, for some odd reason, come to my mind when I write. And that hope of those things that he promises in his word is what actually helps me to endure whatever I'm going through. I feel like it's not very difficult to share about these things because I've always been someone that's been more on the expressive side. And I think from my past experiences, when I do hold things in, it usually just gets worse and it snowballs because the bitterness of holding something in just grows and grows until somehow it gets unleashed on someone unintentionally. And so from those experiences where I've hurt people, I've learned it's really just easier to just let it out while I still can control it. And it hasn't taken any forms of bitterness yet. And so for depression specifically, I wrote about it as a way to help me process what I was feeling and what I was thinking at the time. And I hope that by expressing these things, it helps others to see how I processed and endured it. And then hopefully it helps them, other people, to process it in a way where God is completely involved in that process. You know, what's funny is I never actually did Speakers Tournament. I remember my senior year, I promised to do it, but then dropped out last second. I promised Uncle Joseph and Auntie Stephanie, who were heading Speakers Tournament at the time, and I told them I would do it, and ended up not doing it because I kind of just didn't like the topics or whatever reason that I had, busyness. And, you know, I got a gentle scolding from Auntie Stephanie for breaking my promise. But like you and Hanley always say, God is sovereign. And he is sovereign indeed by bringing me back to FCBC and now, ironically, having me serve as the lead for this particular ministry. He definitely has a sense of humor in the way he orchestrates things.
Well, Nate, it's good to have you back. I'm glad to see God use you for his glory in all of the areas you serve, and especially through your words, in your online writing, and in your personal teaching. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast here at FCBC Walnut. For more blog posts, visit our church website at fcbcwalnut.org. And don't forget that you can get all of the episodes of Walnut Notes delivered via YouTube and podcasts. Just search for FCBC Walnut. Thanks. See you soon.